Greetings, Space Engineers, and this is Commander Noodles, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2. Today we're going to be going through a few things we need to do to get ready to leave the Earth's atmosphere. At the previous episode of Season 2, Episode 1, we created our ship that we're going to be using to depart the Earth's atmosphere. So I'm going to run over here real quick and then we'll be able to see it. So this is the final ship that we created. We have the two hydrogen thrusters. You can see the tanks there are for the large thrusters we're going to be using, and there is the ship there. And we had this cargo container here, and we linked that into the actual base itself. So what we're going to do real quick is we're actually going to jet up to this vehicle here, and we're going to unlock it, and we're going to just quickly land this ship over here. To get out of the way. And then we're going to shut it down and jump out. And what we'll also do while we're here, let's go into this point and we'll grab the uranium out of there. We'll use that uranium other places, I'm sure. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into this ship, and before I go any further, this is really important. The HUD has a lot of valuable information. So the lower left hand side relates to you. Hit J. It tells you whether your helmet's on or off. If your visor's shut, obviously lit up, it's shut, and not lit up like that, it's open. And if I go external view, you can see, there we go, you can see me, it's shut, it's open. That's not so important on the planet, but in space you do not want to go outside of the ship's environment, your safe environment, with your visor open. It'll kill you, obviously. So the next thing we're going to look at, X, we don't need to worry about because that's your personal jetpack. O, you can turn on or off. That is broadcasting. L is your lights. If you have spotlights, it's for lights. Further down, the plus sign is your health. It's 100. The O2 sign is your oxygen, and you'll see two little markers just above the first bar. They are how many additional tanks you have. So I have 2 extra oxygen tanks. The lightning bolt is the amount of energy in my suit, and the H2 is my hydrogen. And again, I have 2 additional hydrogen tanks in my inventory right now. So if there's my 2 oxygen bottles, there's my 2 hydrogen bottles. So as you can see, they're represented down there. The next one with the bar is how many meters per second we're traveling, and Z, the dampener's on or off. That is, if we're moving forward with dampeners on and release our forward thrust, the backwards thruster will kick in. So then we have the general information that you know about, and to the right of that bar you have a circle with half of it grayed out. That half grayed out is basically your horizon indicator, but that isn't a horizon. That shows you where gravity horizon is. So you could be coming close to a hilly slope, and this will not show you where the flatness of the slope is. This is going to show you where it's up and down relating to gravity. Really important. Just to the left of that, you'll see A gravity 0.00, that's artificial gravity. Underneath that, P gravity 9.81, that's planet gravity. And also, if you look at the very bottom left corner, where it says press the number to switch size, it'll say O2 high in green. So just down the bottom, you'll see it in green, O2 high. That tells us that we've got a good amount of oxygen supply in this canopy, this cup here. To the right, you're going to see P, that's your landing gear. Right, we want to leave that locked right now. O, again, that's broadcasting, but that's for this on the right hand side, it's all relating to the ship. And Y, that is, if you hit Y, we can shut the ship down. So now the ship's completely off, everything's red, and the engine's turned off. You can see the engine's fire up. Underneath that, it shows you the amount of kilograms that you're carrying in regards to weight. And underneath that, it shows like battery indicator and a time frame. So that's saying we're fluctuating from 19 days to 2 years worth of power available on this current ship. Underneath this is a the lightning symbol, and the numbers are fluctuating. This is how much power we're using right now. So in the bottom right corner we see that power, and it's fluctuating between 0 and 2. If I got out of the ship, it's going to be using 0, but because I'm in the ship, it's using a little bit of oxygen, so it fluctuates between 0 and 2. The most important part of this is the H2 on the bottom right corner where it says 100. This is how much hydrogen are currently in our hydrogen tanks. If this reaches 0, we have no fuel, we go nowhere. And if we're already traveling in space in a certain direction with 0, that's where you're going. You cannot stop your ship. So with no further ado, what we're going to do is I'm going to take off. So I'm going to go G, and I'm going to go to my landing gear. If you haven't done this, right click on it and say toggle block, switch lock is what you want. You want to do the same for your connector. You want to switch lock. The next thing we're going to do is go to weapons and tools. We have no weapons, but we do have tools, so we're drill. So we're going to right click on the drill, and that's going to put the drill down here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit the escape key once, hit K, and then up the top here, type in thrusters. This will be important when we get ready to leave the atmosphere, where it says hydrogen thruster down. Hold down the control key, select the first one, then hold the control key, and then click with your mouse button while holding the control key all the other ones. So it should be 4. And then at the right hand side, bring your cursor over and type in thrusters down and hit save. Then hit escape, hit G for golf, and then under groups, we created a group, it's called thruster down. Right click on that and say toggle block on or off. What this means is when we're getting ready to leave the atmosphere and we're pushing up and we release because we're going to be pulsating, this won't turn. We can turn off the downward thrusters so we don't have to fight the thrusters, and it will reduce the amount of fuel we need. So at that point, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unlock and take off. I'm going to external view, because what we're going to do now is we're actually going to send this ship over here, and we are going to dock. So we're going to bring this in. There we go, and then hit 2, ready to dock. It's locked. So what we're going to do is a couple of things. First of all, while it's locked, you will see if I type in here hydrogen tanks. These hydrogen tanks are now back to full. Very important. So once we leave this dock, no matter what we do, we are going to be using fuel all the time. We're going to be using more fuel than we can create. So the sooner we get started in our ascent, the better it's going to be. While we're docked right now, we're not using fuel. So what we're going to do now is you've got these two icons here: character inventory, ship inventory. We're going to click the ship inventory, and these are our ship's inventories. Now over the right hand side, we're going to say hide empty, and we're going to take as much relevant stuff from here as we can. First of all, you see the white or grey is your current ship, and the orange is your base. So we're going to take as much ice as we can, and we're going to load up our oxygen generator here. If we type in here generator, there, oxygen generator 1 and 2. So let's move as much as we can over to, there we go, that one's full. And then if we type in here ice, any ice that we have already, we that's not correct. Any ice we have already, we'll be able to find. So it looks like the only ice we have is currently in that ship, which is fine. So now we've got that squared away, let's go ahead and move stuff across. So what we can do now is we're going to use everything we have. So we're going to say cargo, and we've got our 1, 2, and 3 medium cargo containers, and then remember orange is the other the base. So we're going to get as much resources as we can across. So we're going to drag and drop, just literally drag and drop, as I'm sure you know this already. And we're going to fill up all 3 cargo containers, and we'll probably have equipment and resources left over we haven't been able to carry across. What we'll also do is we'll use our connector, and we'll also use our cockpit. Any available space we can physically put something in, we will. And the reason for that is, once we get out there, the less we have to make, the easier it's going to be. Okay, so we've got all of our resources, and now nickel goes here, goes there, and that goes there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fill up the remaining amount of resources. So we're going to cockpit, let's fill up the cockpit. So as you can see, we have 10,000 liters available. So we're going to put as much as we can in the cockpit. Great, so we're almost done. There's some more. So that filled that one. Now the next thing we can do is we can actually put in to the connector. We can put these in the connector as well. And the connector, if you remember, was at the back. So we've got two options. Right now, iron's the easiest thing to get. So silicon, let's get that. Or maybe not. Let's try nickel. Okay, so we've got a little bit of nickel, and we've got a little bit of silicon. There we go. Gravel's easy. Silver, we should probably try and get that. Let's put that out, get the silver in there, and then we'll get the silicon in there. Actually, you know what's more important? That is the iron and the silicon. I'm kind of jumping around a bit. Silicon's important because you need that for computers. Iron is important because you need that to build stuff. Silver is important because it's generally important for reactors or building batteries and stuff like that. The only thing we can put in here is ores like cobalt, so we can like put that there, and we can put that in there. And unfortunately what that's doing is it's pulling it out again, but that's okay, we can sort that out later on. And the rest of it's good. So what we're going to do now, just for time's sake, is I'm about to undock. Now the way to undock is press number 2 and you see where it says locked. When I do, I'm going to accelerate up. Now here's the kicker. Once we get to a certain point in speed, we want to pulsate our upwards thrust. So before we do anything, I'm going to push number 4. And remember, number 4 was our upward thrusters. So you watch the 4 mini thrusters at the top, they just turned off. So now if I hit 2 and push forward and up. So now I'm doing spacebar, and we are now on our way into space. So if we look at our left hand side, you can see we're doing 30, 35. Look at the right hand side, we're at 94%, 93% of hydrogen. So we want to get some speed up as quickly as we can, because the more speed we have now, the easier it is to maintain as we go higher. But if we start losing speed, we'll have to spend more and more hydrogen. We will not get up there. When you get to about 96, let it go. And then I'm going to go external, and you can see how I'm pulsing here. So try and get up to 90s, let it go to 80s, and go up to 90s, and let it go to 80s. So we're just pulsating like this. And we're already at 3,000 meters at the moment, and we need to get to 42,000. So we're going from 80s to 90s. If you can remember that, so 80 to 90, and let it go down to 80. At the moment, it's going to take more fuel to get to 90 from 80 than it is when we release. We're not going to be able to generate as much fuel as we need. But soon, at about, I think it's 6,500 meters, we should start seeing the P9.8 gravity to dissipate. So we at the moment we're down to 71%, and if you look at the indicators, it shows we have more than 50 but less than 75. That's why 2 icons are there. So we're just pulsating. We're at 65%, 72,000. Sorry, 7,500. If you look at our gravity indicator, see how that's starting to fall. So what we're basically doing is we're showing that we have less and less effective gravity upon us. We're at 60% right now, so we're doing really good. We're at 8,000 meters, coming at 9,000 meters now. And as you can see, it's not taking as much of the pulsing to keep us up to speed. So we can just tap, tap, tap. Every time you see those thrusters going, I'm hitting my spacebar. Tap, tap, tap. And we're maintaining. We're at 54%. That's good. And we're at 10,000 meters, and we're looking at 6 gravity compared to 9.8. So we're still using more fuel than we're able to generate, but that's okay. So soon what you'll see is that 50 will go to 49 and then 50, 51. And as you can see, the speed that we start slowing down is a lot less than what it was before. So we want to stay around the 90s. Now the maximum you can get is 94, I believe. We don't want to hit that maximum because that means we're wasting fuel. So we're at 14,000 and we're at 47%. But see how the 47 hasn't dropped yet? Oh, it just went to 46. Oh, and it just about went to 47. So just give it a second. And you can see the moon just cresting over the Earth's horizon now. We're at 45. And we're at 16,000 meters right now. And as you can see, it's taking a lot less pulses here to get away from the Earth. So now we hold our Alt key down and use our mouse wheel, we can scroll up and down. And we can do this, look around. That's pretty neat, isn't it? One thing I didn't do, which I should have told you about, I've already done it. Using your G, you can set a GPS locator and make sure you reference your base. If you want to stay there, you can see mine says Alpha Base, make sure you do that. So we're at 20,000 feet, we need to get to about 42,000 feet. Gravity is 2.44. That's good. We're at 42% capacity. But you can see we don't need to use anywhere near the amount of thrust as we used to keep our speed up. And if we hold that down and look around, we should, there we go. Just near the center of the screen, you'll see an asteroid, a larger asteroid. So the asteroids are starting to show. And we will be able to mine those soon, but we don't want to mine any asteroid until we get until we get out of the Earth's gravity field. So we're down to 1.8 at the moment. Hold down the Alt. That's what I failed to do before. There's the planet, the alien planet there, and there's the Mars planet. Our system's having a little. There we go. That's very pretty, isn't it? There's the sun and the Earth where we just left. Now, it's still saying 42 right now, so let's check something real quick. So we got inventory, control panel, type in hydrogen, tank small. There we go. So it's increasing. We're getting there. One thing I did notice that type in hydrogen, or oxygen, sorry. So type in oxygen here, and then go your personal way. What we can do is we can actually go oxygen tank, oxygen generator, there's what we want. And that'll increase our speed that we're creating hydrogen. So you can see, by looking at my speed, I'll get down to 60, but with a couple of simple taps, we are now back up to 90. And we're at 45, we're at 46. But what this does tell us is hydrogen is where our oxygen supply is good. Our hydrogen's starting to run a little low. We need more ice than what we have. We've got 2.5 there and 7.9 there. So what we can do is, let's bring that across up to there. And you could do this quite easily enough. There we go, about even. So we're at 50% capacity for a hydrogen tank, so that's great. And so what we'll need to do now is basically look through these asteroids that we're coming up to and look for one of them which will have ice in it. If you look at, now we're at 34,000 meters and our gravity is at 0.84 and 99.9 is your max. So right now we're just holding off. We got V, look around. Hopefully we won't crash into one of these because that really would suck. But life is good so far. As you can see, we want to accelerate to the 80s or 90s, and then if you can get to 90, let it slow down to 80, then accelerate to 90, let it slow down to 80, accelerate to 90. If you go a little bit above or below those, it's not a big deal. So we're 80, just a couple of quick tabs, and we're 90. You will need to start pulsating, because if you just constantly burn, you will not have enough hydrogen in these two tanks to push this craft up. But if you pulsate like we're doing, you will be able to escape with enough there that you can then go ahead and start mining. So we're at 40,000. Planet gravity is 0.54. We're almost done. We got some more asteroids there. There we go, right there. So we're going to hit 4. And what just happened there, I'm not sure why my screen's flickering like that, I apologize, is we just left the planet gravity. So now we're slowing down, and we're going to hit G, not G, I'm going to hit K for kilo, click GPS, type in new from current position, and we're going to change this to say Earth gravity point. And we're going to say always visible. That way, if we're ever getting ready to come back to our alpha base, we know once we get to this point, we're going to hit gravity. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look through these asteroids to find one that has ice. Now this is, I'd say that one there looks pretty good. So what we'll do is when you go towards a asteroid, don't point exactly at it. Point just down or just off it, and then hit your Z key for Zulu. Turn your initial dampeners off, and what that means is when we accelerate, it won't try and decelerate when we leave, when we pulsate a bit. And then this should work for you. So you can see on the left the speed as I release like this, my speed's not slowing me down. So what we're looking for is an asteroid that will have ice, and you'll know ice when you see it because it looks blue. It looks like ice. I mean, and just for the sake of the shortness, obviously you guys can skip through, but once we find ice, you just mine it like we'd normally mine, and then I will create the additional episode. Episode 3 will be actually setting ourselves up on a big ship with a power supply, a refinery, and an assembler. So I just want to show you what it looks like to see ice. So if I for inventory real quick, and I'll go to control panel, remember we put in an ore detector right here, and so that is going to tell us what minerals are in that area. Now if we hit V is really useful when we look around, making sure that there might be some other asteroids close by that we can get. If there's any close to the Earth, just do yourself a favor, make sure you don't go like for one down there, because you might then be back into gravity. And bear in mind, if you have a ship that perhaps doesn't have enough, or that definitely does have ice, I can see that. If you have a ship and using Z, it'll start slowing us down. If you have a ship that doesn't cope in gravity, it's not designed for gravity, you're going to have to remember you want to stay away from that gravity areas, because if gravity starts pulling you in, you can't get out of there, you're going to go down, and you're going to go down hard, and you'll fight it, but gravity will always win. So we can see here, this larger asteroid will most likely have all sorts of wonderful resources, but it's going to have ice. And just make sure you don't, even though these bits of rock here look innocent enough, they can hurt you. So we're going to go here, we're going to go all blocks, and we're going to say drills. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to G, not GK, and type in drill, and we're going to say drills. For some reason, I have noticed this as a glitch. When you try and use the drills as a as a tool, only one of them sometimes will work. And so what we're doing is we're basically saying toggle block on and off. And so now 3 is our drills, and we should start mining this in just a second. You'll see, there we go. And if we go to inventory now, hide empty, we're getting stone. Okay, so we don't want stone here. What we want is we want this ice. Now the good thing about the hydrogen thrusters, if I haven't said so, they use almost very little to no energy. When you start getting to ion thrusters and stuff like that, you will need a lot more power. So right now we're mining ice. If I type in here ice, you can see here that we're restocking our ice supply. These are going straight back into here. That's what we need. So we're going to keep mining ice until these are full. That way we don't get stuck. Because if we lose ice out here, the only thing that will keep us alive will be whatever's in the hydrogen tanks there. As you can see, we have 55%. But we need ice to make sure that we have enough to restock our hydrogen tanks. So let's go type in ice up the search feature up here, and you can see we're now restocking the ice. So that's fantastic. And then what we'll do is once we've done that, we'll come back out here. I'll turn my drills off real quick. Let's look up here, and we'll come over to a bigger area. It looks like we have iron here, and we have more ice. And in a second, our ore detector should start telling us. There we go, we have iron, and we definitely have ice. What you can also do is you can go K for kilo, click GPS, new from current position, and you can choose, there we go, iron, ice, asteroid. And then we just click that out, X that off. That way, if we're ever looking for iron and ice, we know where to go. And let's do this. Why is there a bar? I'm not sure. It just must be an issue there on my system. Right now we don't want to get any iron. We're just interested in the ice, because what we'll do is at the beginning of the next series, the next episode, we'll go through about creating our space station and making sure we have resources that we can utilize, that will refine and be able to build that stuff up. So there we go. That is how you find an asteroid with ice, and also how you find other resources like iron and stuff like that, what to be a mind of, and how to pulsate your hydrogen systems, so that way you don't run out of hydrogen and can escape the Earth's planetary gravity well. And that looks kind of pretty, doesn't it? So this is Commander Noodles, and I hope you found this useful. And if you have any questions, like always, we ask you to just post them on the YouTube channel, and I promise I will get back to you guys as soon as I possibly can. And I look forward to seeing comments and questions as they may come in. Commander Noodles, out.